And I love the fact where it's like Lucy put him up in like what's it, toilet paper to make him a mummy or something like that. Hey, then like Lincoln questions him, saying like, why do I have to wear the toilet paper? And then he said like, oh, it's just payback for what you've done to our family. Them trying to become like goats, like mountain goats, for example.
Hey, the best kind of goat is a moon goat.
Okay, Luna Loud fan.
One of the best lines to come out of the episode was, I can't wait to tell Ronnie Ann all about our trip. Ronnie Kid vibes, my dear. Ronnie Kid vibes.
Ronnie Kid.
Ronnie Kid vibes, baby.
Ronnie Kid. I know. I'm hype. Now we're going to be talking about Loudcasa Talks because we've done this before. It's so long. We're going to continue to be doing some episode reviews because this guy wants to bring it back.
Yes.
So why were we bringing it back?
Well, actually, because there's this one particular Loud House episode arc that I've been dying to talk about, and I feel like since this is like one of the biggest, like Loud House episode events, the Loud House road trip arc, of course, I felt that I had to give out my thoughts on each episode. But they're going to be like quick retrospectives of each episode. It's not going to be like full on in-depth reviews like we did back in Loudcasa Talks. It's going to be like, quick thoughts.
All right, so I know you've been waiting for us to actually start reviewing these episodes, so let's go ahead and start it off right now. We'll start off with Bizarrodatorium. This is the episode where the whole road trip starts, and we get to see Lincoln take a ring that's apparently cursed. Okay, so let's actually just break it down through the whole episode, because it just feels like when you see the first parts of the episode, I don't think Lincoln wants to go through this Bizarrodatorium. What he did was try to get everybody to wake up and just get everything all sorted out there. So your thoughts on like the first part of the episode of Bizarrodatorium?
Yeah, like the first part of the episode, I think to myself, that is classic Lincoln. Like this is the OG Lincoln that pretty much plans everything out. He's a man with a plan. And so, like, he comes up with these strategies to try to get the family to Bizarrodatorium, which, by the way, Bizarrodatorium definitely looks like the Bizarrodatorium is basically the Loud House's own mystery shack.
Yeah, right? It definitely kind of does from the way that... Okay, so it's weird because, like, when you first see the Bizarrodatorium, it looks like some sort of fake ad. Because, like, I saw the guy, like, roaming around and he's all in his green screen and it's, like, terrible green screen that he's trying to put up, trying to advertise, like, the bizarre aspects of things like that happens in the Bizarrodatorium,
Yeah. It's pretty much a commercial. Like, it's a scammy sort of commercial. It's so fake that, like, even Grunkle Stan... Like, even Grunkle Stan's, like, it would make Grunkle Stan blush because Grunkle Stan's probably scammer himself, but this guy takes it to a whole new level.
So when I first saw the episode, like its first go through when it comes to Bizarrodatorium, I was like, I understand it. Lincoln really does want to get to Bizarrodatorium because it's on the way to Niagara Falls for the first, thing that Rita needs to do. So he did I just love the whole, like, what is it, David Steele sort of, like, spy thing that he does where he tries to, like, give everybody up an hour so that everybody wakes up earlier than expected.
Yeah, like, Lincoln Loud definitely nails the David Steele role. Like, seeing him going from Ace Savvy to David Steele.
Oh, yeah.
That's quite a change.
Well, then again, it's superhero to super spy. Then again, he's been into the huge David Steele aspect sort of thing. Then again, I just love the whole aspect of him being the man with the plan again, where he does his own thing to make sure that he can get to the Bizarrodatorium quickly. So, yeah. And I love, like, what he would try to do to make sure he can make it to Bizarrodatorium, where he would, like, everybody rush to get food ready. Everybody rush to get to the bathroom on the break stop, for example. And then he would make it to Bizarrodatorium, but it was already shut down. That's like I think that's the most disappointing part. It was the fact that in Bizarrodatorium he ended up not getting access to even going into Bizarrodatorium.
Yeah, the only thing he got was just the ring, but unfortunately, it ended up doing more harm than good.
Yeah, because what happened after? Oops, sorry. So what happened after he ended up getting the ring? To be fair, like I saw the sense of aura when he just put it on and then it all glowed and stuff. And then you can see this big dense cloud come over and it's about to take over the RV.
Not only that, but they got a flat tire, and then when they went to Busy Burger, it turns out they ran out of burgers, which, by the way, mere coincidence, right? Like Busy Burger.
Busy Burger.
Busy Burger running out of burgers. It's like,
oh yeah,
I guess it really did get busy. Right?
Yeah, and then they ran out of fries, and they ended up getting mustard sandwiches, which ended up also being disaster too.
With the exception of Lana. Lana loves, mustard sandwiches.
That's Lana. She just loves to eat dirty food. But then there's also that time where, like, what was it? They everything started to break apart. Like their RV is starting to fall apart. Was it a hole in the roof? And then the RV just started to shut down. Like they're in an accident or something like that.
Yeah, and then it turns out that, like, after Lincoln pretty much says out loud that, I may have cursed my family. That's when Lola comes in and be like, Mom, like, she pulls up a Tattler's tale again. She's
a tattler after all. So yeah, and then again, it's the same old reference to Tattler's Tale, which she just becomes a tattler.
One of my favorite season 1 episodes, by the way.
Well, she did the same. She did the same thing to that one episode. What was it? The neighbors episode. Like, Mom, Lincoln and Clyde are playing Spy again. I just miss Lola. She's just great. So the curse. So there's a curse that happened. Obviously, he's wearing the ring. What happens now is that they have to obviously uncurse the ring, and that's where Lucy comes in, where she would tell him do this, do that. And I love the fact where it's like Lucy put him up in, like, was it toilet paper to make him a mummy or something like that. Hey, then like Lincoln questions him. Lincoln questions him, saying like, why do I have to wear the toilet paper? And he said, like, oh, it's just payback for what you've done to our family. instead of just like a random stuff that Lucy says. But they were able to get the curse free, and then they had to go all the way to the Niagara Falls, which they ended up not making at the end. Which also really didn't help, because, like, I think the editor who was working on Rita's paper ended up not working on it, like saying, no, you're fired, or something, like you're off the duty or something like that.
And that's when, like, Lincoln confessed that.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? My thing right here is, like, I guess the reporter really likes this whole, like, was it cursed story or something like that?
Yeah. Like, after Lincoln confessed, that's when the manager, like, turned his around and said, oh, never mind, keep doing it. I like what you.
I like what you're doing. Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty much the whole thing about Bizarrodatorium. I would say not bad of an episode. It was something to actually start off the whole road trip. They started from Royal Woods all the way to Niagara Falls. They had a Bizarrodatorium person that they had to go through, and they had to go through a curse. It's the same old typical Loudhouse, like, antics that you'll get to see. Yeah. So, if anything, I would say my grading would be like 7 out of 10. I don't know about you.
8.
8 out of 10? Okay.
Yeah. It was definitely a worthwhile episode and definitely a good start to what is to come in this road trip arc.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. So, Bizarrodatorium, not bad of an episode, but it was a start of what the road trip episodes were. All right, so let's head over to our next episode called Bringing Down the House. It's the episode where the Louds, would visit and invade the White House.
we got Lincoln in the house.
Do we have a Corey in the house sort of thing going on now?
Lincoln, dun, dun.
Yeah.
We got Lincoln in the house. Lincoln in the house.
So this episode started off with them going to Washington, D.C. They have VIP tickets because their editor gave Rita VIP tickets to the White House. And it turned out that the Louds ended up having a quote-unquote fun time there.
Yeah. Like, so what happened was that, like, they were in the White House tour, right? And so there's this really strict guard that is on their watch, like a bulldog. And they do make a joke about that. So what happened is that they pretty much, each Loud gets tempted to go into each fun room. Like, you got the bowling room, the ice cream room, the fashion room, and, not surprising that Lola goes to the fashion room.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. So they pretty much try to cover up the fact that they went into these rooms, and then, and then, like, even Lynn Senior stuck into, like, the kitchen or something like that and messed with the cake. And then after that, it turns out that, like, there were security cameras and that the guard had caught them red-handed and they got caught in 4K. But then it turns out that, like, when he called the president was like, oh, I actually did like seeing what the Louds did. You know, it was my birthday and all this stuff. It's just like, happy birthday, President Biden.
Okay.
See, that's kind of the thing. Bring it down the house. I feel like they could have done more with it because you got the Louds going into the White House, and it's like you could have explored more of what goes on in the White House,
but they were
like such as Congress or anything like that. But instead, they focused on like these little rooms that they stick into.
Well, then again, their tour guide was pretty much giving them that. They didn't give him anything when it comes to like the fun parts, like the cooking place, even the president's headquarters, which Lincoln actually apparently did go to.
Like the episode could have given us more of the White House. They could have given us more of like Washington D.C.
Yeah,
they could have shown us the president. They never show us the president of the United States.
Yeah, which they did and not allowed, for example. That was one time they actually showed the president, and that was not a good episode, by the way.
Don't mind me of that, please. Just ridiculous. You know what? The Loud House movie did Lincoln's birth way better.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, they talked about this whole Scotland thing, which is great. Apparently, not allowed is not canon. Well, then again, the Scotland thing is not canon to the show. Apparently, if they can at least get some bridge between the movie and the cartoon, that'd be great. But I was just okay with the whole episode. I did love the fact that like they had so many apartments about the White House and Lincoln being a part of it, and then you also get to see like it's just the other Louds. Like for example, like Lynn Sr., he wanted to check out the kitchen, then messed up the cake. Lynn Jr. went to the bowling alley, and then ruined the bowling alley. Lana went to the the Sunday place and ruined that. Lola made a hole in one of the first lady's dresses.
I think that was the best part of it. It's like Lola dressing up in all these like fashion, like these fancy lady outfits.
She's into all of that though. That's the thing.
It shows her vain personality. I love Lola Loud. She's one of my favorite characters ever, top 5, just because of how entertaining she always is. Like she brings out the diva, vain side of her, which is always fun to watch.
I think like throughout this episode, throughout like this season, there's a lot of good Lola Loud episodes, like the Candy Crushed episode, even the skunk episode where Lola took care of a skunk.
And there's also another episode in this particular arc that we're going to touch upon. Spoiler alert, I really love that episode. We're going to touch upon that later.
All right, for sure. All right, so let's just move on to the next episode, but let's give our ratings to Bring It Down the House. I say 7 out of 10. Again, not a bad episode, but yeah.
6 out of 10. It was adequate enough. I did see what they were doing, but like I said before, they could have shown us more.
Yeah, they could have showed us more, but in the end, it ended up having a good fun time for the Louds to just have fucking what was it, a shenanigans over at the White House. All right, let's move on to the next episode. It's called Mountain Hard Pass. This episode was next in line, and they were going to the Rockies just to go on a hike. Now, it made sense why the Loud siblings were kind of like, oh, we kind of don't want it. We don't want to walk through here. They want to go back to their RV. While Rita and Lynn Sr. have a different story. They actually do like to hike around that aspect. Mountain Hard Pass wasn't, I would say, we'll continue on with talking about it, but like, what are your thoughts on that episode?
Let's just say that I relate to the Loud kids so much because I'm not a fan of hiking either. So
weak. You should really consider walking through.
No, man, because like hiking could be like a chore to do. Like like it takes out the energy in you. It's just like,
oh my God. Yeah, you're weak.
I'm weak, just like the Loud kids.
I'm okay. I'm okay with hiking a 10-mile hike to whatever they were going to, but
I can't even do 5.
This was more towards Lynn. This is more towards Lynn and Rita having a fun time more than the kids. I understand what's going on with the kids. They were all getting like beat up with nature and things like that. I remember like Lucy being whacked by a branch, and she said like, "Lay me down here."
I feel you, Lucy. Like I would feel the same way.
Yeah,
but I can't even do 5 miles.
They just did so many antics for them to get them out of there. I mean, you get to see Lucy just lose a bag of like food. What was it? Them trying to become like goats, like mountain goats, for example.
Hey, the best kind of goat is a moon goat.
Okay, Luna Loud fan.
Hey, like I love when Luna said like from moon goat to mountain goat, and then she sings the lullaby. It's just like Luna has such an angelic singing voice. God bless you, Luna. You have such an angelic voice. Like but the lullaby is just like
Oh yeah, but then the goat still hated it.
The ghosts have no taste. They have no taste, man.
If anything, it does show Luna, just try to be graceful when it comes to the goats and stuff, which is pretty neat. A little tidbit for them. I was pretty happy about the whole episode. I think it was just more of a learning lesson for them, because the thing is, like, what happened in the end was like, oh, they're about to be attacked by mountain goats. Then they had to work together in order for them to get back to the RV.
Whatever nature provides. With the help of whatever nature provides.
And then they were able to, like, hiking again.
Well, I mean, like, they were able to like hiking from that point on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they were able to like hiking or something. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe some adventurous stuff will happen for the kids. And then they ended up actually liking to hike. So I just thought it was
I did like the adventurous, the adventurous energy that's part of that episode is, very thrilling to watch. I really like.
I really do like it.
This episode was definitely worthwhile episode.
I would say it's not bad. I would say it's not bad of an episode. It definitely just features the Loud family in a crisis when it comes to like the hiking, the aspects of like what'll happen when you're hiking. So, and I understand like the kids why they kind of don't like hiking. I mean, some kids are kind of like that. They're like, oh, I just want to go back into the RV and just chill out and chill in there.
I'm like that. I'm a 31-year-old man.
But then they don't realize like the adventurous aspect that could come into hiking, and in the end, the kids ended up liking the hike. So but yeah, I mean, I would say not a bad episode. 8 out of 10 in my aspect. I don't know about you.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay, sounds
great.
It
definitely brings out the adventure aspect of Mountain Hard Pass, which does make it quite a grand adventure for them.
So we went through the third episode of the road trip. Now let's head over to the fourth episode called From Bad to Worse.
Pretty fitting title.
Yeah.
Pretty fitting title.
So this is the episode where Lynn Sr. was is a little jealous of this old flame that Rita knew. And this is like pretty much throughout the whole episode, because like they just go to a county fair. Rita knows this one guy. I forgot his name, Brad. This guy Brad. Yeah. And then it looks like Rita and Brad look like they're like rekindling or something like that, which made Lynn Sr. pretty angry. And throughout the episode, you get to see like Lynn Sr. just go all like, oh, what about this Brad guy? I hate him.
Like, okay, honestly, the best way I could describe For Bad to Worse is that it's a Loud House version of Teed Off. Okay, let's not beat around the bush.
It pretty much is, but I feel like it was like more tension there.
It's Teed Off 2.0. It's just like what's the difference? What's really the difference between that episode and this episode? There's not really much. It's the same. It's the same plot formula that you've seen in that episode. Like like I said before. Honestly, there's not much difference. And honestly, I felt Teed Off did this better. Honestly,
I think so too. But then to be fair, I really did like Lynn Sr.'s jealousies coming up here and there. Because the thing is, like, the kids are having fun. Even Brad like helped Lola get like some unicorns, which Lynn Sr. couldn't be able to. Yeah, there's these aspects where I was just like, oh god, this is hilarious.
The problem is that it's way too predictable. You know what's going to happen from start to finish.
I guess you can do that. But it's the same thing with Teed Off, for example. Because you're thinking like, okay, look, Bobby and Lori are going to be together. Come on now. This is just one flame that Lori is thinking like, oh, he's a great guy, And I understand Bobby being jealous. The same thing with this episode. I understand what you're saying. It's the same thing as that episode. And in this episode, it was more like I don't know. I just like Lynn Sr. being jealous.
Yeah, I mean, like it was fun. It was fun to see how Lynn Sr. gets jealous. Like any husband would get jealous if they see their wife with an old flame. But then again, like I said before, like it's an idea that's not really original, and it's one of those road trip arcs that I could just easily skip and watch like other episodes. Honestly.
I'd say this is fun. It was really funny at the end where like the Rita that Brad was talking about was his horse instead of Rita, who was Lynn Loud's wife. So it's like, whoop. And then in the end where you get to see like Lynn Sr. like ringing a bell and then he gets whacked out from a bull or something.
Yeah, it's one of those been there, done it gags, and yeah, like I said before, honestly, I consider this the weakest of the Loud House road trip arc. I consider this the weakest.
Really?
The weakest
really
one.
The weakest. Okay.
Because the other episodes were done better.
I would say Bizarrodatorium was the weakest, to be fair, in my case.
Really?
I thought this was really fun to watch, just to see Lynn Sr. become all jealous and like, oh, things are happening.
That's a bit of a hot take from you saying that Bizarrotorium is the weakest one. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it. But yeah, I mean, Brat the Worst. I would say 8 out of 10 for me. I actually thought it was one of the good episodes when it comes to the road trip arc.
If I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna say a 5.5. Somewhere between a 5 or 6.
Wow, that's really like below average there.
Somewhere between a 5 or 6. It's one of those episodes that, you know, like it's really for background noise and nothing much else. It's harmless, but it's one of those episodes where it's just like been there, done that, and I could just like watch episodes that are much more worthwhile. It's nothing offensive or anything.
I still say it was not bad. Just see Lynn Senior jealous. It was just funny to watch. Yeah, so there's that episode. Stop 5 on the trip is Dull Day Afternoon. This is the episode where Luann misplaces what was it? Mr. Coconuts, and a big story happens with Mr. Coconuts here.
You know, this episode is interesting. I'm just gonna say it. This episode is gonna be interesting to discuss.
So let's start off where like Luann's misplaces her plushie. They go back to the diner where they stopped, and Luann like obviously needs to look for wherever Mr. Coconuts is, and it turns out he was apparently kidnapped by a mysterious guy based on the cameras that they saw.
So what ends up happening is this typical wild goose chase to get Mr. Coconuts back. Like, hilarity ensues, and, like, yeah, I gotta tell you, like, the episode was definitely a fun episode to watch, like, to see the Loud family try to get back Mr. Coconuts, like, all that kind of stuff. But that's not really the part that I want to talk about regards to this episode. What I want to talk about is the last 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes.
Yeah, where you get to see Mr. Coconut's creator, who actually stole Mr. Coconuts.
Yes, and his name is Calvin Coconuts, and he is the one who made Mr. Coconuts. He's pretty much the reason why Mr. Coconuts is even alive as a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, but to be fair, Luann had Mr. Coconuts all 7 seasons, and now in this one particular moment, we were feeling like this could be the end for Mr. Coconuts and Luann.
Yeah,
and the history of like how Luann ended up getting with Mr. Coconuts was Oh, he just flew out of nowhere. A bird ended up like picking up Mr. Coconuts, and it just landed in Luann's arms.
And the rest is history.
It is true. We never actually get the origin story of how Luann ended up getting Mr. Coconuts.
And the rest is history. And what follows is such a touching scene, such an emotionally wrenching scene where Luann looks at Mr. Coconuts, and as much as she loves him, she feels like he belongs with Calvin Coconuts because, Calvin and Mr. Coconuts do have that history. And they are father and son in a sense. And, you know, coming from that, you know, emotional voiceover performance by Christina Puscelli, like, she decides to sadly give up, you know, what she loves. Like, she loves Mr. Coconuts, so she has to set it free. And so she gives Mr. Coconuts to Calvin Coconuts, saying, I think that he should stay with you. And so, and like Luann pretty much goes back, and then she takes last look at Mr. Coconut, says, "Here's looking at you."
Oh, I know that was a very touching scene too.
Yes,
I'm so sad.
And let me tell you, like that would have been such a high ending to go. It would have been a way to end it on a powerful note because you see Luann try to move on from the journey, or at least. You know, that's what I wanted it to be. But then what follows afterwards is the scene we're going to talk about right now. Oh my God. Nate, go ahead.
He's trying to gather himself after what we're going to discuss. Because I gotta say this first, it was definitely emotional to see Luann and Mr. Coconuts finally like hopeful. We were thinking in that scene they were gonna go split up, that it's gonna be gonzo between both Luann and Mr. Coconuts, and then throughout the rest of the show, Luann is just gonna be by herself without Mr. Coconuts. And it made sense for Mr. Coconuts to be with his father, and you know, it could be like a very happy ending. But then what happened, the scene after that, was Calvin Coconuts actually came back to the Loud House RV, and it turns out that he wants to give back Mr. Coconuts to Luann. And the thing is that, okay, my take on that is more like, if you want to continue the legacy of Mr. Coconuts, then you might as well just give it to Luann, because Luann and Mr. Coconuts already have a bond. It's been there for years. And Mr. Coconuts is still a very funny guy. If anything, Luann and Mr. Coconuts definitely are a bond that definitely needs to be like a great comedy act together.
okay, here's going to be my hot take on this. I did not like the ending of the episode at all. Like, honestly, Luann and Mr. Coconut should have stayed separated. And here's why.
There's a good aspect of that, and I would have loved that ending too. But they pulled off with the fact that Luann and Mr. Coconuts are still going to be together forever. And I'm like, that's fine with me too. I just wanted to see how this origin came to be. It made sense considering that Calvin is going to retire. Like, Mr. Coconuts is going to be put on the shelf now? No. It would be better if he gets to continue the comedy with another person who knows Mr. Coconuts, Luann.
Like, here's the thing. I'm not bothered by the fact that, like, we can see Mr. Coconuts again, because there's a way you can incorporate Mr. Coconuts into an episode without having him be Luann's again. Like, for example, you could have, like, Calvin Coconuts and Mr. Coconuts appear in about, like, 2 episodes to 3 episodes, coming to visit Luann, and all that kind of stuff. I feel like when you bring back Luann and Mr. Coconuts together, it pretty much ruins what was such an emotional and powerful scene that really does help with Luann's emotional growth as a character. Because like the scene was very well executed. You can tell You can tell by the scene where it's just like, oh wow, like it turns out that Luann and Mr. Coconuts are actually going to stay separated, but then again, it's best for both of them to go separate ways, because Mr. Coconuts gets to reunite with his, creator, like his long lost father, and then Luann pretty much learns to not be so codependent on her ventriloquist dummy, and thus she pursues her acting career on her own, and she pretty much pursues her career as, a clown and pursues her career as a comedian, and so she learns to pretty much pursue those talents on her own without having to rely on a ventriloquist dummy. That would have been an excellent character arc for her.
Yeah, I understand that as well. Like I said, I was fading with both endings. I was fading if Mr. Coconuts doesn't go with Luann. I was okay with Luann going with Mr. Coconuts. I have to say this though, the ending I think was still good, because it just gives you an understanding of why Mr. Coconut should still be with Luann, so that Mr. Coconuts can continue to live on and become a puppet. Maybe when Luann starts to retire, she'll give it to somebody, maybe her daughter or something that can have a famous comedian or something like that. Just keep the line of Mr. Coconuts going. You
could still do that without having him be a recurring character like he always was.
He still is, and he still is a recurring character. So no matter what, I understand Luna's like hella pissed about that. So
yeah, I had nightmares about this once.
Nightmares of this once. Yeah.
Best line in the episode, by the way. Best line in the episode, and it is not biased whatsoever.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of like Luna, Luann, like very funny lines between each other. Remember that one episode where Child's Play, where Luna was like covering her eyes? It's like, wait, is it Luann? Where Sam was just saying like, is it Luann? What was it?
Is it Luann? Mr. Coconuts? And then Luna's like, I've stopped asking. I love that line. Luna's sarcastic remarks about her feelings towards Mr. Coconuts. It's just like, I love them.
Yeah, I know. So if anything, I mean, Mr. Coconut is still going to be a recurring character. I believe they're just trying to incorporate him in the Loud House. It's going to be becoming an ongoing thing. And it doesn't matter. We don't know when he's going to end, when Mr. Coconut is going to probably like be hanging on a shelf or being distributed to another person to become the next comedian. But Luann still has Mr. Coconuts, and we're okay with it. Like, I'm okay with it. There's some funny moments still with Mr. Coconuts and Luann.
And another thing, too. Stop with the status quo is God trope, please. Just stop with the status quo is God trope.
As what?
Status quo is God. Where it's just like, oh, just when you think that things are going to change, all this stuff, boop, nope, things are going to stay the same just because status quo is God,
Yeah.
Like things gotta still stay the same. Or it's just like, no, things do eventually change. Characters do eventually grow out of their dummies, toys, or whatever, and Luann has got to grow herself out of Mr. Coconuts. Like, I didn't mind Mr. Coconuts all that much, but yeah, sooner or later, Luann's got to be her own person.
Not a really tough one, I would say, but I did like like I said, I like the ending. So all I can say about that, I know your whole status quo was one thing that I had to bring up.
Listen, to each their own, but yeah, like it should have ended with Luann and Mr. Coconut staying separated. Like I said,
know, yeah, it could have happened that way, but again, we'll see how it goes.
The emotional scene was for nothing.
No matter what,
no matter
what, we have Mr. Coconuts and Luann still going on. I have to say this though, definitely was a really good episode because it did gives us more when it comes to Luann and Mr. Coconuts. 9 out of 10. I definitely put it out there, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like I would have loved to give it that ranking, but honestly, given and how the ending was handled and how this emotional scene was completely slapped in the end. I'm sorry, but I'm giving it like lower points. I'm actually gonna give us like a 6.5 out of 10.
Wow.
6.5.
Wow. Okay, fine. We'll keep it that way. I say it's still good. You say it's bad just because of the ending, but I still say it's good. Okay. Really amazing episode for Luann and Mr. Coconuts. Okay. I think this is a perfect Luann episode.
That's what I mean. Like it could have been great. But like it's one of those episodes where it's like it was great all the way up until the end, where it was a slap in the face to Luann's character growth.
I guess, but who knows? There
And one of the most powerful
will be
scenes
more
left.
Luann character growth eventually. But this one, I think, still, if you watch the Be With Mr. Coconuts, you'll still be with Mr. Coconuts. It will be a matter of time before Luann have to hang up the the wood when it comes to the Mr. Coconuts era.
Fine, I guess. You had it right there, Luann. You had your moment right there, and you lost it. You ruined it.
Let's move on to the next episode because I only have 20 minutes left in my recording. Let's talk about Screen Queen. It's the episode where Lola finally gets her first time at stardom in Hollywood.
Oh yeah. Now we're getting to the best of the best episodes.
I think so. This is definitely
the best.
I think so. This is definitely the best of the best episodes when it comes to the Loud House. So let's actually talk about Screen Queen. So it all started with them going to Hollywood, getting a tour and everything. But then when Lola has a chance to become the new Dakota, I forgot last name.
Dakota Rhoda.
Well, she wanted to do whatever it takes to become a star. And even in the beginning, you get to see Rita say, like, I don't know, stardom does...
Lynn Sr. was the one that said that.
Oh, I thought it was Rita.
Lynn Sr. was the one that said... Well, both Rita and Lynn Sr. did say,
stardom could be a pain. Yeah. So, either way, both parents do understand about the whole stardom thing. But Lola will do whatever it takes to become a star. She even had, like, moments where she could, like, sign babies and she could, like, have her hand in the Walk of Fame, those kind of things. And then when she ends up... So I love the fact that the family goes all together and, makes sure Lola's a star. So the director can say, hey, I need Lola in my movie.
Yes. Let me tell you this. I adore Screen Queen. It is easily one of the top 2 best episodes of the entire Loud House Road Trip arc. And it's one of my favorites of the entire season, like, overall. Like, this is easily one of the best Lola Loud episodes I've seen. I'm not saying a lot considering Lola Loud has... gems of an episode. Like, the reason why I love Screen Queen is because, well, it's one of Lola Loud's best appearances, first off. And second off, like, it shows Hollywood. And it shows how rough Hollywood can be when you really get into it. It shows how, stardom is a pain. And, like I'm someone who, when I was a kid, I myself have dreamed of being an actor in Hollywood. Yeah. I myself have been, I myself have been amazed. Like, I myself am a fan of Hollywood and movies and all that stuff.
So we did an episode about movies last time. So
let me tell you, like this episode, for both of these reasons, it's the best of both worlds. So yeah, you can definitely see why, like, this episode, like, it to me is one of the best.
So Lola would actually get that role, for example, made her a star, but then you also get to hear the hard aspects when it comes to being a star. Doing your own stunts, doing all these pitfalls here and there, doing a lot of these accents. This is just tiring her out. And it's like, oh, did you sign up for this, woman? You know that this is going to be hard for you.
Well, here's the thing. It's in character for Lola Loud to do this. Like, because when you think about it, Lola Loud is the kind of character who loves to be the star of the show. After all, like, this is a woman who's very vain, very much looking like she's desperate. She loves attention. She loves being the star of the show. So having Lola Loud being put into this Hollywood atmosphere, this Hollywood environment, it's very fitting for a character like Lola.
Right, because he wants to star and fame and being famous and stuff. Like,
yeah.
If she ends pageantry, she'll become a superstar, like, a Hollywood star. But then again, she's only 7. She's the fact about being a star is the hardship when it comes to it. So it's like, I can understand all the pain that she had to go through when it comes to, like, signing documents and getting into dresses, and then she even wants to quit, but she's in a contract and stuff like that. But then I love the fact in the end where she starts to play like a diva.
Yes.
Oh my god.
She really does have some acting chops where like she pretty much is acting technically, but she's acting to get out of acting.
Right, exactly. And it worked out in the end for her because it's like I love the satisfying ending because it's like what was it, the director fired her because she was being acting like a diva. She was like doing all these things to just ruin the movie set. She gets fired and then that's showbiz. Just like waves it off and everything. And then also I love the fact that Mr. Coconuts wants to make a movie deal with that director, and then the director threw him away.
Hey, like I got a headcanon. Mr. Coconuts gets thrown back into Calvin Coconut's arms.
Oh my god. That she's lost. Okay, Luann just loses her forever. I mean, to be fair, did we have a Mr. Coconuts episode yet? I don't think so.
We're about to in the future, so.
Oh, we're about to in the future. Just watch out. That's going to come out soon.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if we actually did get it. But yeah, let's just go back to talking about this gem of an episode. Like,
yeah. If anything, this just shows Lola, like, you're too cunning when it comes to being a star. I know you want to have your dreams of being a star happen, but there's the hardships when it comes to it, I mean, I think it kind of reflects back to Gown and Out, for example. Like, you may become the best pageant queen, but then there's also hardships of there's other competitors there, too. You may not be the best overall, but in the end, you still made it to the top.
Yeah, it does help shaping up Lola's character also because she learns, like, the hardships of stardom. And it doesn't apply to just beauty pageants, but also it applies to, like, pretty much... all kinds of stardom, Hollywood included. So I'm really glad that Lola learns this lesson right here at such a young age too.
Yeah, if anything, like this definitely was an amazing Lola episode, especially if the fact that she's trying to learn about being in Hollywood and things like that. So.
And also, Loud family were really funny too, especially when you see like Lincoln and Lucy posing as directors, saying "Put Lola into my movie." Sometimes it's like
I just love that too.
Humor was really spot on here. I loved it.
All right. I think that's pretty much it. Like we can talk about Screen Queen. I saw your camera's about to die too, so we have to probably cut it off soon.
Yeah.
All right. I would say 9 out of 10 too. Definitely. I don't know what, but season 3 is definitely having amazing Lola Loud episodes.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of Lola Loud episodes that are amazing.
Honestly, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It is, like I said before, like between Lola Loud having one of the best roles here, and her, and also the atmosphere of Hollywood being as present here, and also when you blend the two together, it makes for one gem of an episode. Mm-hmm. And yeah, honestly, this one I definitely consider to be such an all-star episode. And then of course the family does help her out, which helps the family dynamic. Yeah, everything about this episode just screams Hollywood. Everything about this episode just screams out Scream Queen. Everything about this episode just screams one of the best road trip, one of the best Loudhouse episodes for me.
I definitely do appreciate it. I think it's one of the best for sure. All right, we'll go with the last stop of the road trip. And we're going to go straight to Great Lake City and talk about hide and seek. It's the episode where, the Louds have to hide from the Casa Grandes to get Rita's assignment done. I kind of don't appreciate that because the first thing that they said was to hide from the Casa Grandes, and I'm like, this doesn't sound good.
But then there's a reason why. It's because Rita has to do this report. Like, Rita has to, like, check out this, like, sites of Great Lake City, and she has to make a report on it. But, and so she doesn't have time for, like, to visit the Casa Grandes, which is just disheartening, but at the same time...
I know. Yeah. I really would love to see, like... I mean, obviously we get to see them later on in the episode, but I'm just saying, like, it's just awkward when they come into these areas, for example, like the restaurant when they first stopped over at Great Lake City, and they said, like, this food place is amazing because it's all full of emojis, but at the same time, you also get to see Carlota, and FYI, that one person from, what's that one sport? That... Basketball?
The basketball.
The basketball episode, yeah, I forgot. Long shot. From that episode, Long shot. That one girl, she got referenced in that. So it's like, there you go, guys. You guys know Casa Grandes. We know a little bit about the characters that were there. So there's that, which I thought was awesome.
What I love about this episode in particular is how the Louds interact with the Great Lake City environment.
Oh, yeah. With how do you explain that? They just think like it's just awesome to see, awesome to eat, and then also awesome to like be a part of the jazz festival where Luna's like,
Yeah.
you rock or
You
you
jazz! I love that part also.
Yeah.
Luna has some of the best lines in the entire road trip arc.
So throughout the time, they were having a fun time at these places, but at the same time, they have to avoid Casa Grande. So, like I said, the restaurant was one thing. They had to hide from Carlota because Carlota was there. All the thing that Rita did was just get a burrito and then eat it. That was just her thing that she did. And then afterwards, they went to the Great Lake Tower, which, to be fair, we saw that in City Slickers, where Ronnie Ann and her friends with Lincoln went to the tower and also checked that out too. So they went to that. That's awesome. The whole family was there too. But then also Sergio and Carl were also there as well. So it's like
Carl in his El Falcone costume.
well, then again, it's Al Falcone. He's a fan of it.
I loved to see him.
I kind of hate. I kind of hate that Sergio ends up getting like the best food while like what was it? Carl gets up getting peanuts. I love the fact that she even acts like a parrot. Like, what? Where'd that come from? Why do you act like a parrot?
One of the best lines to come out of the episode was, "I can't wait to tell Ronnie Ann all about our trip." Ronnie Kid vibes, my dear. Ronnie Kid vibes.
Ronnie Kid.
Ronnie Kid vibes, baby.
Ronnie Kid. I know. I'm hype. I know. I really want that to happen, but you don't even see Ronnie Ann for most of the episode either. Only in the end.
Only in the end.
It's only in the end.
She doesn't even get any lines. What is that all about?
I know. She didn't get any lines. Even CJ had a line. Oh, yeah. I mean, even in the jazz festival, like you get to see like them obviously partying it up with the jazz festival, but then you also get to see the Casa Grande Familia. You get to see Rosa. You get to see Frida and Carlos there. Then you can see Carl and CJ kicking a ball, and it's like, okay, you guys are surrounded with Casa Grande. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And apparently they would hide in like the band's equipment to get them out.
And then they end up going inside the apartment, and then Lynn's like, "Thanks a lot, Stinkin'. Now in the belly of the beast."
Yeah, pretty much. And then like you saw Ronnie Ann trying to go in, and then like they went up all the way to the roof and then got locked out. Oh, I love the desperate attempt of trying to get out by having Lynn Sr. actually jump out of the building. I'm like, God, no, we're not doing that right now. And then what happened was also that when Rosa came up, that's when the whole confession starts to come out. Where it's like, why Louds? What are you doing here? Dude, that whole moment, by the way, where Rosa meets up with the Louds and the Louds give her the truth, it kind of hurt her. Rosa's like, well, I will not help you out any longer. Then she just leaves. That tells you, like, holy shit, this is actually pretty deep.
Yeah.
So
honestly, like
if I was a family that went over to a town and then wanted to visit a friend, you want to visit a friend. If you avoid visiting that friend, that's gonna be obviously like, what the heck, I mean, you're in Great Lake City. Casa Grande is definitely awesome people. Bobby has a relationship with Lori, Lincoln, and Ronnie Ann. They're great friends. I mean, it really does make sense why Rosa started to feel really offended the fact that they avoided the Casa Grandes throughout this whole entire trip.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I would say like I don't blame Rosa for feeling that way because like when a friend tries to avoid you, it does hurt. But at least Rita did explain to them why it had to be the case, to which Rosa did understand.
Yeah,
and
I love the whole thing where Rita said, "Will you ever forgive us?" And I'm like, "Oh."
And then Carl's like, "I need time to heal." And then Rosa shoots.
He's just being dramatic. Come on.
And then Rosa shoots him a dirty look, and he's like, "Okay, I'm already healed." Yeah, Carl doesn't want to met. Carl's tries to avoid the wrath of the chocolate. Rosa be like, "Don't make me get the chocolate on you."
Dude, I'm just hearing the voices again. I miss hearing Carl, CJ, Carlota, Rosa in this episode. If we can actually get more of like Hector, Ronnie Ann especially. I mean, we get to see those characters out there, but we never get to hear them. Bobby was not heard about in much.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this was definitely an episode for the Casa Grandes, just for them to have their spotlight. But definitely the other Casa Grandes need some love too. I mean, come on. You have CJ. I mean, CJ was something. At least CJ can talk again, which is great. But then you don't get to hear Frida and Carlos and those characters again. I'm like, oh, please bring them back. Is that the same Casa Grandes without them? I know we have the other side characters like Carlota having an episode with Lenny. You get to see Bobby Bobby and Lori having a triple date with like the other characters. I mean, we're still mixing it up with Casa Grandes and Louds, but in the end, it still ended up becoming a good episode for the Casa Grandes. I mean, if anything, they needed to actually. I loved it that they ended it with the Casa Grandes. It's like all these roaming around. You have to go visit one more. You have to visit one more spot you got to visit the Casa Grandes.
They visit Great Lakes City. Yeah.
I know that we're not going to see the Casa Grandes show anymore, but at least incorporate the Casa Grandes in the Loud House, which you did, and it turned out to go pretty well.
It really did.
Even though we don't see him for 90% of the time. We were still able to at least get some moments where we get to see oh my god, Carlota, yay! Oh my god, Bobby, yeah!
It was such a treat. Seeing the Louds interact in Great Lake City was so... It really touched my heart, given the fact that Casa Grandes was canceled. And so it's a good way of reminding us that no matter what, the Casa Grandes in Great Lake City will always be part of Loud House. You know?
Exactly. Well, nonetheless, I mean, I would say this definitely was a great episode to end it. Yeah.
I will say, I was sort of doing a back and forth between which one I liked more, Scream Queen or Hide and Sneak. And after really considering, both of them, on one hand, you have Lola Loud interacting with the Hollywood atmosphere. On the other hand, you have the Louds interacting with, the Great Lakes City and all that stuff. I'd have to say that after considering, Hide and Sneak is the second best Loud House road trip arc.
I think you like the Scream Queen more, huh?
Scream Queen, I would say, after really think about it, Scream Queen is the best one. It's the best one.
I think this is my favorite just because... Ronnie, come on, you have the Casa Grandes, and it was a pretty good interaction to have the Casa Grandes there, even though the Louds are being avoided.
They were trying to avoid them.
I know, but in the end, it still worked. I know it's supposed to be a great time for them to actually meet up, but I just love the fact that the Casa Grandes were there. I thought that was just cool to avoid. I understand trying to avoid it so that Rita can be able to get her paper done, but in the end, you still ended up having a party together. You guys are still together. You guys are having a fun familia. Both families are there having a festival on the roof of the Casa Grandes Mercado, and I'm it's still a fun ending, and I still like it.
It's still a fun ending, and I do love this episode. It is a Loud House Casa Grandes episode, and the more the merrier. Yeah. But it's just because of that one downside, I'd have to put it a bit below Scream Queen, but it doesn't change the fact that I really do love this episode.
Yeah, I really do love this episode. I think this probably is my favorite out of the whole road trip era. And second is Dull Day Afternoon. I actually do like that one. I know you hate it for some reason, just because you don't like the ending. I thought it was a great ending.
Dull Day Afternoon could have been great. It was great, but then it ended up not being great.
I don't know your logic sometimes. But if I were to rate Hide and Sneak, I give it a 9 out of 10. Perfect. Oh, I love the way how it ended. Just to at least have the Casa Grandes in it. No doubt. 9 out of 10. Hide and Sneak.
I'm giving it the same grade as you. 9 out of 10 also. I love the Louds interacting with Great Lakes City to show that, Casa Grandes are still always going to be with, part of the Loud House and all that stuff. And of course the ending is, ended on a powerful note to, to end the road trip arc on. It's just, I think this was great.
I definitely think it's great. I think that's it. We reviewed all the road trip episodes on this arc. It was definitely a fun arc to pretty much watch through. A lot of Loud House episodes, but in the end, it was fun to see. If you guys really do want us to do more Loud House reviews, we'll probably do it every so often, not every episode, but. Yeah, this was actually fun to do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Technically, we're bringing back the Loudcasa talks again.
For old time's sake. For old time's sake.
Technically bringing back the old Loudcasa talks again, aren't we?
Every once in a while. It's not going to be a recurring thing. It's not
going to be recurring. It's not going to be recurring. I know that we had new episodes of The Loud House these last 2 weeks, so we're probably going to do another episode where we bring that up again. Probably in maybe 3 or 4 episodes in the Animation podcast, but right now we're liking how it is. We're making this a separate video, by the way, on YouTube. So for those who are watching on Twitch, you watch pretty much both the podcast episode and the episode reviews of the Animation podcast for the Loud House. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully this is going to be our ongoing trend. If you guys like it, please comment on YouTube or please comment on Twitch. We'd love to see your comments back. And thank you very much for checking out this special of us reviewing the Loud House episodes, the road trip arc.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, felt good to do this again for old time's sake, like I said. And it's pretty much us talking Loud House and Casa Grande. It's pretty much what started it all. It's what started this.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. Thank you guys for checking out this the stream. Those on Twitch. We're always here every Wednesday to talk more and record more when it comes to the episodes. And also, like I said, follow us on social medias. Twitter? Sorry, not Twitter anymore. X. Sorry, I hate
having to call it X. So
X, Instagram. Mastodon and threads. Those are go to @Nation Podcast for that. We also have audio podcasts for all our episodes, including this episode as well, where we are bringing it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, where we listen to podcasts. We are having it over there. And also, like I said before, head over to our brand new Patreon, patreon.com/animationpod, to become a new Patreon member there. And from that, we'll go and say goodbye. It's a long night for us, so yeah.
Stay loud.
Yeah, stay loud and proud, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next one. We'll see you guys next week for the next episode. Bye, guys. Bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.